I don't know what ACOTAR's about at all.
I don't need to do math. I just need to read my fairy book.
I want to slap Feyre. I'm mostly just confused. Okay, so starting out, I vowed to myself that I would never, ever read this book. You might be like, Amber, why would you read ACOTAR whenever you said you would never, ever read ACOTAR? Well, you see, I have a friend, and this friend doesn't read books ever at all, really. And she was like, oh, I found this book called ACOTAR, and I want to read it. And me, being the book friend that I am, I refuse to let one of my friends read a book that I haven't read. So at this moment, she is acquiring the physical copy of ACOTAR, and I will be downloading the book on here. She doesn't know that I'm doing this right now. I actually told her that I was going to get the book if she got halfway through. I know she's going to get halfway through. She's probably going to wake up tomorrow morning and be done with it. So yeah, I plan to beat her to it. I plan to finish ACOTAR before she can, so that way whenever she's done, I can talk about it with her. Now, I have said I wasn't going to read ACOTAR, one, because it's so popular on TikTok. I refuse to be one of those girls. I'm sorry, that's a personal issue. But two, I don't like spice, and I know ACOTAR has spice in it. So I'm jumping in to where I know I don't want to be, because I know it has spice. And yay, can't wait. But also, I have read Throne of Glass. I've gotten up to the tandem read for Throne of Glass, and I stopped at the tandem read because I was like, these books are too big. I don't care. And I don't care about the characters at all. So, like, I don't I don't mind Throne of Glass, but I don't love Throne of Glass. So, what I'm scared is going to happen with this book is that, one, I don't currently want to read fantasy. I'm not in the mood to read fantasy. I'm in the mood to read a book with my friend, but not read fantasy. So I'm really hoping that the fact that I don't care about fantasy right now doesn't interfere with this book, but it probably will. Probably my just general not feeling this book is going to trump my internal disdain for Sarah J. Maas. Because I don't like her writing style. I'm going to try really hard to not start this video as a hater. I want to give this book as much of a chance as I can. And I've seen things that say the first book is kind of bad and then you have to read the second one. I have no intention of reading the second one at all. So I'm purely going to judge a series based on the first book. So, but with that being said, let the games begin. I'm going to download the book on here and I will start. I will update you tomorrow or as soon as I feel like it. Won't be tonight, but tomorrow. So okay, so after a slow day at work, I am now 20% of the way into ACOTAR, so that's going faster than I thought it would. So far I have some thoughts, okay? First off, this book was written in like 2015, I think, and you can tell, I don't know what it is about that era of like fantasy. You can just tell when it was written, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You can just tell. Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but if you've read a bunch of books both now and then, I don't know. You could just tell. Anyway, the first like chapter or two or three were giving off like Hunger Games vibes just because of the stuff she's doing. She's like having to go hunt for her family to keep her family alive, and I was just getting real Katniss vibes. That was interesting. But other than that, like, I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it either, just because it's not something I'm really interested in, like topic wise or just like character wise yet. I'm only like 20% of the way through, but like in general, I'm not hating it. It's not awful. I just would prefer to read something else. Like, it's not something I would like pick up because the story sounded cool. The story itself is, I did know this. I somehow don't know what ACOTAR's about. Like, somehow I have managed to entirely avoid any kind of spoilers of any sort, even just plot. I don't know what ACOTAR's about at all, but I did know that it was originally, not anymore, originally for the first book, it was like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, because it was made in that time when like you had the Lunar Chronicles and you had like a bunch of stuff like this. That was just what it was in the time. But I am like kind of seeing that. Other than that, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna diss it or anything. It's just not amazing yet. And I don't think it will be amazing because most people say the second book is what's really good. but I also haven't gotten any romance or any spice or anything related to that yet. So I don't know what I'm in for the rest of the 80% that I have. So I guess this next update might be interesting, but for the meantime, I'm not hating ACOTAR. I just don't care about ACOTAR. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go home and I will update you whenever I have another update. I'm officially on chapter 16, and so I thought I'd give one more update for tonight. And I'm still enjoying it to a degree. Like, my desire to speed through this book is even stronger now because I realized I am, in fact, much farther along than my friend, and I want to keep it like that. Um, I'm a very competitive person, even though this isn't a competition. My brain finds it a competition. It's kind of annoying. Um, but as far as characters, I don't know why, but Tamlin's driving me crazy. Like, I don't like him. Not like I don't like him, but like I find him annoying for some reason, and I don't know why. Like, maybe I just have an internal disdain for, like, this man, Faye, whatever. This man is perfect, and he's super powerful, and he's like the most powerful thing ever, and he has no flaws. I think I just hate that internally. But also, the way that they keep going back and forth is, she looks at him and she's like, "Wow, you're not what I thought you'd be," and he's like, "Wow, you're not what I thought you'd be," and then he like keeps complimenting her to be like, "Wow, you're smarter than I thought a human would be," or "Wow, I didn't think a human could do this," and then he'll be like, "But you can't do this," and she's like, "No, I'm a failure. I'm awful. I can't do this. I'm so stupid. I look so foolish." Like, girl, you're fine. Like, yeah, he's an almighty being thing. Like, obviously you're gonna look dumb next to him. Like, it's just how it works. So yeah. Whenever it comes to Lucian, I think I like him. I like him a lot, actually. I, again, don't really have a reason for it. I feel like he's just gonna be a fun character. I feel like he is going to do some stuff that's gonna be entertaining. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna go. We might end up hating Tamlin. We might end up loving him. Lucian might be an enemy. He might not. I don't know. This is literally just my ride. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do this vlog as a no spoiler, so everything I've said is going to be incredibly out of context, not matter without context, or just not be spoilery. So I'm going to try and do that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go continue to read this book, go to bed, and I will update you tomorrow.
I just got some Fae lore that that Fae kids don't reach adulthood until they're 75. So whenever we're talking about this like centuries old dude getting with a 19-year-old, in theory, he's not even like 30. Wow, okay. That sounds so weird, but sure. A 75-year-old is finally hitting his adulthood. So like 75 is like 21 or 18. If 75 is like 18, then why am I trying to do math? I don't need to do math. I just need to read my fairy book. It's fine. It's fine. That's not important. I just felt like I had to update all that. Never mind.
Okay, it's the next day. I have an update. I'm up to 50%, and oh my goodness, I want to slap Feyre. I hate her so much. I didn't dislike her before. I hate Selena in Throne of Glass, but I didn't hate Feyre, and now I do because she is such a pain in the butt. She gets told, "Stay in your room. Tonight you're gonna die if you come outside." You know what she does? Goes out of her room, goes to, like, the middle of the woods, almost dies like she was told she was going to, gets sent back to her room, comes out again, almost dies again, and then proceeds to get mad at the people that had tried to keep her in her room, for, trying to protect her. She just gets mad at them and, goes off and paints them as pigs because she's mad and petty. And then the next day, she's just like, "Oh yeah, we apologized. I got given flowers and now she's in love." Like, I'm so sorry. What is happening? What? I'm convinced this woman I'm convinced this woman is under a spell. Like, I don't believe that her mind could have been changed that fast about a character. I'm convinced she is under some type of glamour. I won't tell you if I'm right or not, but if she's not, and she just suddenly was like, huh, I'm in love now. What? Why? What? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't like how Sarah J. Maas writes her romance. I think that's my biggest issue with her writing. Like, not the fact that there's just spice in it, it's how she writes it. Like, literally, nothing has happened yet. Nothing. One slightly romantic interaction happens, and she jumps from, like, just talking normally to talking sexual so fast. So fast. Like, that's not necessary. Why can't we word it differently? Why do our characters have to immediately be like, wow? Like, why is that necessary? I don't understand. That's honestly one of my biggest issues with her writing style. Like, if the fact that there's romance in the books, that's great. But why does it have to be like that? Like, I don't, it's just not how I like my romance to be written. It immediately becomes lusty, it immediately becomes just physical, and I don't love that. So, yeah, that's my 50% update. Hate Feyre. Tamlin is still driving me crazy for some reason. I still like Lucian for some reason, and I don't like Sarah J. Maas's romance. That's my 50%. I'll update you whenever I have more updates. Okay, so hi, welcome to our shed. This is just the only place I could like talk loud right now, and I need to talk loud because I finished ACOTAR, and I every time I move, everything shakes. I'm sorry. Um, okay, so have thoughts. I finished it this morning. I stayed up way too late to read it last night, and then finished it today. Um, and basically, this book feels like the first book in which you're supposed to kind of hate how everything ends up, or like you're supposed to hate certain things, but all of it ends up resolving itself later. But also, somehow at the same time, this feels like it could be a standalone. Like, I'm honestly, out of everything, I'm mostly just confused. I'm confused because everyone loves this series so much and they love the second book more. So I'm convinced that everything I dislike about this book somehow gets resolved in the second book, but I don't care enough about this first book to want to read the second book. I just know that everyone loves it so much, so I feel like I should read it so that way it gives the first book another shot. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense at all? Um, so yeah, that's great. That's great. As well, first off, the thing I do actually really like about this book is that it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I said that at the beginning, but I didn't know if it would come back at all, and it does. It does. The entire end ends up being a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I actually really, really like it. Not the end, like the middle, like what's all going on behind the scenes. I actually really like that. Like, I really, really like what, like, how it was tying in together. I like the whole, like, not gonna say anything, but because this is not spoiler, but I do actually really like that. What I don't like is what's supposed to be the romance. Like, I know enough about the series to know that this isn't going to last the entire series and that this is like only a temporary thing, but I am still so convinced that everything is a lie. I am not convinced that our characters fell in love that fast so deeply because nothing happened. There's no reason they should be in love. There's no reason she should be able to say I love you. There's no reason he should be able to say I love you. I know why he did it. I know why. I know why. But why did she do it? I don't understand. It felt like one chapter she was one way and one chapter she was an entirely different character, and I entirely don't believe that that's her. I am entirely convinced that something is still going on that we haven't found out about, that we won't find out about until a later book. which I was really hoping we were going to find something out in this book, because if we would have, that would have been a great motivator to read the next book. But since I don't know if I'm crazy or if it's just being dragged on. So, if nothing's going on and this is just how the book is, this romance is sucks. Like, again, I know it's not long term, but I'm not rooting for them in the slightest. I'm not even like, oh, this is a bad relationship. It's just like, why? Like, what? What is the point of this in the meantime? So, I honestly feel like at some point I will probably read the second one. Probably. Especially if my friend reads it. So I guess maybe keep an eye out on that video. But the spice in this book was nothing. Like, I still hate how Sarah J. Maas tries to write it, but like it was not as bad as I expected it to be. I know that in A Court of Silver Flames, it gets really bad. I'm not reading that. No matter what, I'm not reading that far. I really, really want to read a book from Nesta's point of view, but I'm not reading that far. I might read the first one, second one, third one, like the original trilogy, but there's no way I am reading A Court of Silver Flames. So I'm trying to decide whether or not to stop now while I'm ahead, or to read the second one and see if I want to read the third one. But I'm not reading beyond the third one. I'm not doing that. I will not read A Court of Silver Flames. Don't care how good it is. Don't care. I looked up like a spice guide, and I'm just not gonna do that. I might watch like a recap video of it, just that way I know what's happening. That's actually something I kind of want to do for the second book, so I don't have to read it. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. But I read ACOTAR. I don't regret it because it was a nice distraction from my life currently, which is stressful. So it was a nice distraction. It was fun. I did read it quickly, and my desire to read it quickly went from to beat my friend to I wanted to figure out if I was right or not, and then I didn't get answers. So, yeah, that was great. That was kind of disappointing. I still really like Lucian. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Other people say Lucian, but Lucian feels right. Don't care. Don't tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. But I still really like him. If he ends up being bad, if anything happens to him in the sense of he's lying, he's bad, he's been a villain this whole time, I will riot and I will stop the book immediately because I like him. Also, Reese, everyone loves him. At first, I was like, what is wrong? Why does everyone like him? And then I kind of realized what was happening. I was like, okay, he's doing all this for a specific. Okay, I get it, but I still don't understand why everyone loves him so much. But also, just my taste in bookmen isn't. Um, he's basically Howl from Howl's Moving Castle, kind of. He gives me Howl from Howl's Moving Castle vibes. He doesn't actually, but like that's just what I keep feeling, and I hate that kind of character. So it's not very interesting to me. But again, probably next book probably explains it, and probably everyone likes him because of what happens in the second book. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. But it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. Honestly, I expected it to be a lot worse. It's just not something I was super duper interested in right now. So that has a lot to do with it. But I will not be buying the second book because I bought the first one. I paid $5 for it to read it immediately. So I will not buy the second one, but whenever it's available on my library, I will probably read it. So I will probably make a video about that because this is fun to talk about. I'm glad I can finally understand the hype. I'm glad I finally, know the characters. So, yeah, I don't regret doing this. It was fun. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining this journey. Thank you for bearing with this awful lighting. I'm sorry. But yeah, I wanted to be able to talk and not be whispering or, anything like that. So you got the full response, reaction. So anyway, yeah, thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think about ACOTAR if you've read it, or if you haven't read it, why you haven't read it. I would like to know why you haven't read it if you haven't. So anyway, I will talk to you later. Bye.